Welcome everyone, Brett Crowther with Charles Schwab, and I want to talk to you about triangle patterns. And right here on McCormick, what we see is what we call a descending triangle. Now, why is it descending? Well, because if you look at the support, it's horizontal. You can see a couple times it's bounced off the support. But look at the resistance. If we were to draw a line across the points of resistance, it's declining. And so the way technical analysis would look at this is that it has bearish pressure building because it can't rally as high and could potentially break to the downside. And if it does break, if it were to break, just hypothetically, they'd look at it go from the widest point of the triangle. Now, here's the first touch, here's the second touch, and so that's kind of where it begins, if you will. And so we're going from, 71 to 85-ish, about 14 points to downside if it were, in fact, to break out. But so this would have a overall bearish pressure according to the pattern. Now, let's compare and contrast that to another one, which is this, we've got nominals here, which is a bullish triangle. It's an ascending triangle. And as you can see here, it touches level of support, then runs up, hit resistance, but each time it hits support again, it's higher, yet the level of resistance is the same. So we've got a flat top, rising support. And so, first touch, second touch, here's the distance right here. We're looking about 410 to 500, about 90 points. The upsides are somewhere up in there. If it were, in fact, to break out, you can see it had earnings, and even with the earnings, it couldn't break out, but it did get a lot of volatility in here. But according to technical analysis, this would have bullish propensity to break the upside. Again, nothing is guaranteed, right? But it's good to see these patterns in their true form, right? It's one thing to see in a textbook, give this idealistic view of what it should look like, but then it's another to see it out in the market where it may not look as clean, as nice, as perfect as in a textbook. Now, so we had the descending triangle, bearish pressure, bullish pressure on the ascending triangle, and what we have here is a symmetrical triangle. And this one, it really doesn't have a bias. It's just kind of winding up, and it looks to pop one direction or another. It could pop either to the upside or the downside, right? It doesn't have a trend going in. If they see this in the middle of a trend, maybe an uptrend, then technicians might say it has a propensity to break the upside, or if it's in the middle of a downtrend, it could break the downside. But right now, it just came off of looks like a double bottom right here, and so it doesn't necessarily have any propensity. So just a couple different patterns setting up. Now, if you want to learn more about these types of patterns, I'll put a link in here to classes that we teach, but they're good to get the eye developed for, to see what they look like and start to identify these types of patterns out there in the market. So thanks for joining me today, and we'll catch you next time.